Okay, here we go. Get ready for this. I'm going to give you some shocking, brand new information that I just received a couple nights ago when I was studying. And some of you who know me, some of you who've watched our 1,000 videos, you're going to believe what I'm about to tell you. Others of you are going to be very skeptical, and some of you are going to get extremely upset with what we're about to learn here. Now, before I get started, I'm not asking you to trust me. Anything that I say in this video, number one, I want you to approach God about. Ask God if it's true. Ask God if it's trustworthy. Number two, some of the things that I'm about to teach you are going to be false. Why? Because I'm not Jesus. I'm not the Christ, and I'm not perfect. But I'm doing the best I can. I'm studying just like a lot of you are. I'm making mistakes like a lot of you are. And I'm misdiagnosing what God is teaching me just like most of you are. So no, I'm not perfect. And I want to state that before I get started, because here is some shocking information. One more thing. I am going to be speaking to you in this video as if you had watched my other videos on the Nazis, the Nazi space program, the secret space program, and things going on out in space. I will be sharing information here assuming all of you have watched those videos. But if you haven't, if you're brand new to the channel, the links are going to be down below to 3 or 4 of them that are very important to watch. One more time, please. I'm going to be speaking as if you've already have learned all of the information I shared in my videos. Okay, check the links down below. Go watch those first, come back to this one last, and let's get started because this is going to be amazing. I'm going to be sharing with you some brand new information that I just learned. I'm going to be going in chronological order, and some of this information is in a couple of my other videos. I have notes in front of me, which I don't normally like to use. Normally, I ask God to speak through me. Once in a while, I use notes. This video is complicated. I'm going to be using notes. So let's get started. Back in the early 1930s, in Nazi Germany, the witches were channeling to what they thought were aliens, but what we Christians believe were demons. And they were channeling and communicating with them. And these witches in Nazi Germany were getting the blueprints to build spaceships. This is actually a proven fact that cannot be argued. It's on the internet. The facts, the documents, the diagrams, the blueprints, the witches, their names, when they lived, how old they were, etc., etc. This is a fact. Let's continue. This alien race, which you and me believe were demons, came to Nazi Germany in the early 1930s and gave, I say it again, they gave the Nazis a few spaceships as a present. The Nazis didn't even have to build them, although they did, but they were given ships by these so-called alien/demons as a present. And in return, there were 2 conditions. Listen to this. These so-called aliens gave the Nazis free operational spaceships in return. Number 1, they told the Nazis, you must kill all of your enemies. You must kill all of these people. And that turned out to be the Jews, Russians, Polish, homosexuals, African people with dark skin, gypsies, and everybody else that I can't even think of describing. That was one of the conditions per getting these free spaceships. Number 2, and this was the second condition, these demonic alien beings told the Nazis, you must enslave men, women, and children everywhere you go so as to build, paraphrasing, thousands and thousands of our spaceships that are needed. And from what we can see, from facts that are coming out, this is what the Nazis did. And I'm going to get to that towards the end of the video. These were the 2 conditions that these demon/aliens gave the Nazis in return for giving them some free, up and running operational spaceships. Let's continue now because it gets to be quite incredible. In 1939, think about that, 1939, the Nazis had bases on the moon and Mars. I repeat, on the moon and Mars. Now, I've mentioned that in other videos, but I got new factual information that this is true, which confirms my other videos that I made already, that the Nazis were going up to the moon and other planets early in the 1940s. It turns out to be 1939. The Nazis found operational bases up on the moon. Now, I'm not going to go into the Old Testament and how they had spaceships and they were on the moon and other planets already. I have other videos that have already done that. The Nazis went up to the moon, and found some of these bases up and operational. And they took control of, I think it was 2 of them, if I remember correctly. Sometime around 1952 to 1956, the Nazis sent some of their spaceships over Washington, D.C. This was filmed on videotape. It's all over the internet. I just saw an incredible video of this 2 nights ago, real video of the Nazi spaceships over the Capitol in Washington, D.C. And like I stated in other videos of mine, this was to tell them, no, we're in control. No, you will obey us. No, we will be giving you the orders. You will stop your war with us. We are in control and we won. You see, people, the Nazis didn't lose World War II. They won. They might have lost militarily against Russia and the United States, but boy, did they win. And if you click the links down below, you're going to find out just how devastatingly they won the war by. Now, the Nazis and the cabal, I don't call them the Illuminati too much anymore. I call this secret faction a cabal. And evidence is coming out that this cabal has not only been going on for hundreds of years, but possibly 1,000 or 2. The Nazis make a peace treaty with the Illuminati/cabal secret government. And in return for the peace treaty with the cabal, with the USA, this is the secret USA, the Nazis gave an entire base on the moon to the United States as a present. And the USA took control of that base, I'm guessing around the mid-1950s. Okay, here we go. Let's continue. Space has been colonized for at least the last 70 years. Think about that. I'm scratching my notes right now while I talk, turning my head away from the microphone. 70 years of space colonization, possibly much more. Now, I'm going to get into how big and how wide this is in a short time from now. Some of the so-called alien races, I believe they're demons shape-shifting, but some of the alien races that have made contact with the cabal and they're working together with them are the little grays that most of you know about. Those are the little gray beings with the big eyes. With the reptilians, and these reptilians are so-called a very evil alien race. I believe they're demons shape-shifting. And another alien race is the Nordics. Most of you have heard about them. These Caucasian-looking tall human beings. And there's one more I'm going to mention, and these are bird-like beings. These are humanoids with blue skin and dark blue feathers. And if some of you are laughing about this, or some of you think, Garrett, shouldn't you be back to making videos about Jesus and the Bible? Let me explain something to you. There are drawings, statues, and all kinds of other archaeology in Egypt and around that region showing these beings. There is archaeological proof of these beings. So what has been happening in the Old Testament is repeating in the New Testament. You better believe it, and this fulfills prophecy. Now, to continue, this cabal, you might call them the Illuminati, you might call them the witches and warlocks that are in control of planet Earth. I'm talking about humanly speaking. I'm not taking away God's sovereignty. I'm not saying Jesus isn't in control anymore. I'm just talking down to earth to you about human control, human mechanisms, and humanity. This cabal gave these so-called alien races / demons permission to take human beings. And I believe they've been taking human beings for a long, long time. And the human beings are being taken for some of the following reasons. Get ready, I have to say something very nasty, so brace yourself. According to the evidence I got 2 nights ago, the reptilian aliens, which I believe are demons, some of them eat human beings. The human beings are being taken to build and work on construction and to work on projects also, not only all over our solar system, but in other places too, which I'm about to get to next. This is shocking. This is very humbling. I'm going to continue a little bit longer until I give you my opinion on these things. So the cabal is trading human beings. In return, they get technology, they get toys, they get microbiology type presents from these so-called aliens like DNA or microorganisms, which are supposed to be incredible, and all kinds of scientific biological presents. You see, the cabal and our government sold us out, and every single night human beings are being taken. Every single night. Let's continue. Maybe you're wondering, well, who's in charge of all of this? We can call them the cabal. We can call them Illuminati elite members. We could call them European high-ranking bankers. We could call them Vatican elite men and women ruling Europe. We could call them the elite family in Buckingham Palace. And now I want to share a little bit more with you. They seem to have age regression technology. What they do is they'll take people up to Mars, They'll work up there 15 to 20 years. They will wipe their memories. Yes, they have this technology to wipe their memories. I can't prove it to you. I'm not saying it's a fact. What I'm saying is sources in these projects are coming forward now and leaking this truth. Multiple sources. So they wipe the memory, and if chosen, they can use age regression technology, and they can put the person back on Earth and age regress them 20 years. So they're back to the same age that they were before. When these elite people get old, these witches, these Illuminati families, this cabal, these bankers, these Vatican Jesuits, when they get very old and they're about to die, there are a couple possibilities. Number one, they can age regress them and actually make them young again. And when they do that, they wipe their memory and they're allowed to live another life again. Yes, this is shocking. Yes, I don't expect all of you to believe this. That's why you got to approach Jesus if these items are the truth or not. Number two is amazing. When these elite men and women get old and are about to die, they have the technology to transfer their mind into a clone. And according to the sources that I heard 2 nights ago, when they transfer their minds into a clone, sometimes they retire and live out another life peacefully. Sometimes they might wipe the mind, if I can remember correctly. They live in a clone and do something completely different. Sometimes they transfer the mind into their clone, which is an exact replica of them, and they go out into space and keep working on projects. You better believe they are working on projects out in space. Let's continue. Multiple sources have said that we have the technology, which was located in Los Angeles off of Sepulveda Boulevard, where you go into a machine and they take you directly to Mars. To explain it to you, it would be like a teleporter, like in Star Trek. Multiple sources have said this now. Multiple sources have said it's in Los Angeles, and multiple sources have said it's right around Sepulveda Boulevard, somewhere around Marina del Rey and that kind of area there. That's correct. This seems like it's the truth because too many sources are coming out now stating this. That you go into the machine and you come out of the machine, you are on Mars. I also heard from another YouTuber a couple years ago, his name is Michael, that they have one of these machines on the moon, and he actually showed a picture of it in his video. Now, his YouTube video was taken down a couple years ago, but I actually saw that video. I saw the machine, and it looks like this is turning out to be the truth. Okay, let's continue. There's a little bit more. Most of you know that we live in the Milky Way galaxy, and also some of you have heard of the Andromeda galaxy. I learned 2 nights ago that we have spaceships so advanced, and when I say we, I don't necessarily mean the secret U.S. government. I mean the cabal. That's who I really mean. The Nazis, witches, Illuminati, Vatican Jesuits, Buckingham Palace, cabal have these spaceships. We have spaceships so advanced. Listen to this. Listen to this. They can fly from the Earth to the Andromeda galaxy in 20 minutes. That's correct. They're using warp-like technology. How funny we hear that in Star Trek. Now, I learned 12 or 13 years ago, I learned it from Bill Schneebelen, that we have everything in the Star Trek and Star Wars movies. I've put this information in multiple videos. I'm repeating it to you again for about the 10th time now. We have everything in those movies. And according to these sources, we can get to the Andromeda Galaxy in 20 minutes. They have found, the cabal, working with these so-called aliens, which are demons, they have found 9 Earth-like planets on the very edge of the Andromeda Galaxy. These planets have Earth-like suns, and I think it was 3 of them. 3 of them have been colonized by human beings, and they're living there in cities. They wear clothes like we wear clothes, and they have cars. They have automobiles, which they drive on their roads just like we do. Now, before I continue, please allow me to give you a little speech. This is very humbling. This is very humbling to learn that you're not special, that you're no better than anybody else. This is very humbling to learn that maybe the earth isn't the center of God's heart, and that He has chosen ones not only all over Earth, the moon, and our solar system, not only possibly in the Milky Way galaxy, but possibly in the Andromeda galaxy. This is humbling because it teaches us we're not special. We're not better than anybody else. That God has people all over the place whom He loves and adores. This is very humbling. Let's continue. There's a little bit more. Before I go any further, I want to explain to you that this information is fulfilling prophecy. There are prophecies that all of the things hidden are going to come out. That back in the Old Testament, they had spaceship technology and they were colonizing the moons and planets. Yes, back in the Old Testament they were. And that this secret information about what the government leaders are doing with the children, about the worldwide slave trafficking of children, teenagers, and women, the secret bases, the moons, the planets, other galaxies. This information coming out to us now is fulfilling prophecy. So I hope you humble yourself even more. Let's continue. These so-called alien beings, whom I believe are demons that shapeshift into little gray beings, they shapeshift into reptilians, they'll shapeshift into Nordics and bird-like beings, and other beings also, like humanoids with a dog face, whom we've seen all over Egypt. What I'm about to tell you is very sad. They have a galaxy-wide human slave trade. And if you don't believe me, it's exactly what they're doing here on earth. You cannot deny that there is a slave trade going on here on earth. And I have uncovered evidence. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. I have found evidence with God's grace that people are being taken to the moon and Mars. There are multiple sources for this now. So I say it again. It looks like there is a galaxy to galaxy wide human slave trade. So if you got up and went to work today and came home and bought a hamburger and french fries and a Coke, and you're watching your favorite movie tonight and you're reading the Bible and you're praying and you're worshiping before you go to bed, I want you to understand there's millions of other people all over multiple galaxies that are in a galaxy-wide alien, demon, slave trade ring. This is terrible, man. This is really bad. Let's continue. Most of you know that on 9/11, that's September 1st, 2001, that the World Trade Centers in New York and building number 6 collapsed. But most of you don't know that the day before, Donald Rumsfeld, I think he was Secretary of Defense or Secretary of State. Please be patient with me. It was a long time ago. He was on national TV stating that there was approximately, let me just say this. He was stating on national TV that there was trillions of dollars missing. Trillions of dollars. Lo and behold, what happens next? We wake up the next morning and they blew up the World Trade Centers and building number 6, I think it was. One of the reasons they did that was to cover up the trillions and trillions of dollars which has been found to be missing. Years later, we have come to the conclusion that there is $22 trillion missing. Where has it gone? What did the cabal do with it? The best theory is it's paying for the space colonization, building spaceships, and building hundreds upon hundreds of bases underground. The United States, I don't remember the total, even though I learned it just 2 nights ago. I'm sorry. But they have something like 150 underground secret bases in the USA, and most of the other countries in the world have them also, which comes to the fact that there are thousands of underground secret bases in the world. What we can figure is the $22 trillion missing has been used to fund these underground secret bases, possibly under the ocean, and definitely out in space. And we believe that's how they're paying for all of this. It's hard to realize how much $22 trillion is because of the movies we've seen and the news we watched on TV. They're always giving you gigantic numbers. They're always telling you 10 million of this and 50 billion of that. $22 trillion missing. That could fund the secret space program, which is not only on the moon and Mars, not only all over our solar system, most likely the Milky Way galaxy, and whistleblowers are telling us now that they are in the Andromeda galaxy now. This is unbelievable. $22 trillion is missing. I want you brothers and sisters to know something. About 2 years ago, I saw a NASA video with my own eyes. I saw this myself. There were creatures out in space. I hadn't approached Jesus about that topic before, but he had led me to multiple videos showing that there are creatures out in space. And then he led me to a video where I saw real NASA video of some of these creatures. There was about 30 of them, maybe 50. And out in space, it looks like they were swimming. They weren't so much flying, but they were like swimming. And they were approximately a half a mile wide. Half a mile. Gigantic creatures out in space. I have approached Jesus about this topic I don't have any concrete confirmations yet, but I believe that just like how he created the fish in the ocean and the birds in the sky and the animals, insects, and reptilians in the desert, I believe he created life forms out in space all over the place. Now, we Christians love to say that there is nothing out in space. God would never do that. We are the apple of his eye, and that there is nothing out there. But I want you to know all of that is nothing more than your pride. You see, in your pride, you want to be so special to God, so special to the church, so special to your family and friends, you are not willing to believe that Jesus might have created entities all over the galaxies and the universe. And why wouldn't he? This is exactly what he did in the ocean, up in the air, out in the desert, up on the mountains. In fact, every single place we look at on earth has life forms. By the way, evidence and photos are coming out that there are life forms on the moon and on Mars. That's correct. So, once again, this should be crushing your pride. You're not special. We have to humble ourselves more. I believe in the next, say, 5 to 10 years, maybe 15 years, we're going to get disclosure on some of these things, or even full disclosure. And I want you to know that this cabal is at war with other agencies here on earth and out in space. And there is opposition. And watch out for the coming civil war in the USA. The right against the left. The cabal against the other agencies. The civil war is coming, and this can be found in the Old Testament with Babylon that had a civil war. And this can be found after the death of Jesus in Rome, where they were torn apart by their generals, 2 or 3 of their generals causing somewhat of a civil war. History keeps repeating itself. So what side is President Donald Trump on? That's not for this video. What side is Obama and the Democrats on? It doesn't matter for now. But this cabal / Illuminati / mess that the world finds itself in now has some opposition. And from what I learned a few nights ago, they're fighting back. And they're going to fight back legally. They're going to fight back legally and try to undo this mess. Is it going to work? Well, I read the book of Revelation, and so have you. No, it's not going to work. The beast is going to rise up and overtake the whole world. And when I say the whole world, I'm talking about the moon, Mars, the other moons that they're on, the other planets, the other solar systems, the other galaxies that humans and these demons / aliens are in. The beast is going to rise up and take control of it all, just like the Bible says, and is going to declare war on the saints. Well, Garrett, are there saints out in space? Well, Jesus has told me in multiple ways he has people, he has his chosen ones in everything. He's taught me in multiple ways that some of the Illuminati members, some of the leadership, are some of his chosen ones. You heard me correct. Now I know the Lord. I'm drawing closer and closer to him every day, just like you are. I'd like to say that I believe he has chosen ones all over space, all over the place. Galaxies, planets, moons, underground, in the Illuminati leadership in Europe, probably in Antarctica, he has chosen ones. The beast is going to overcome the saints. That's going to be from galaxy to galaxy, planet to planet, moon to moon, ocean to Mount Everest, New York to Moscow. The beast is going to declare war on the saints. They're going to overcome us. We're going to die, and we're going to go to heaven. Not because we're special. The only thing we're special at is sinning. And if you can't admit that, we're going to go to heaven because God's Son came down to earth, was born in a baby, grew up as a man, and died on the cross for his chosen ones, whom I believe are scattered all over galaxies. Praise God. This is incredible. Just incredible.